Syra.
I mean, basically what she said that, like...
Syra, can you just say it, please?
I forget what I said.
There's more to addiction than
It doesn't
before.
even really.
No.
It's
Wait,
not
Syra,
really
oh,
so
you
it's
still want
sounds
drug
like
addiction, you're not getting
cocaine isn't
Okay.
it's maybe part of it.
So what does that tell us about the hypothesis that reward only drives addiction?
Look at the structure
Okay.
of cocaine. Look at the structure.
Right. So could reward help to drive addiction?
Not even really.
Yeah. Okay. Does the naltrexone study refute that?
No.
No.
It's it's anti-opioid.
You want water, boy?
No. It's a joke.
Wait, what are you talking about?
So,
I'm talking about naltrexone.
No, I'm talking about alcohol.
Really?
I thought you were talking about
Fourth
cocaine.
Those two things are very deep.
No,
Okay.
I'm talking about naltrexone.
So the idea, and it's important to start diagramming things, but if reward, if addiction requires reward in order to drive addiction behavior, then what should destroying reward do?
I'm turning that way.
It should stop addiction behavior. And is that what we see?
No.
No. So that means there is probably something else.
Poof.
Okay, we've seen from this experiment certainly that reward center activation, specifically the release of dopamine in the nucleus accumbens, is going to generate the repeated behavior, but from this we know that it's not the only thing. Okay, let's review this experiment. All right,
Oh, wait.
talk to me, Sarah.
I got
Okay, all right, yes.
I have a question with the ALDH2 gene. Ethan. Was I why? Okay. So does the face flush that's uncomfortable, does that stop dopamine from being released? Or is it in addition to dopamine being released?
Has everybody taken the quiz?
Yeah.
The second time.
No.
Yes.
Not
No,
in
that's
the
not the question on the quiz.
Are
It's
you
an unrelated
required to
question.
take a second attempt?
The ALDH2 has nothing to do with dopamine.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, would an uncomfortable thing stop you from feeling reward for something else? Or
No.
No. It just is in
No.
addition to.
Correct. It's where the fire is, right?
It's like how big the fire is. Yeah, the fire behind you is bigger than the fire in front of you. Oh.
Right.
You can have a fire and you can put water on your fire.
ALDH2 has nothing to do with the cupcake.
The
What's that, just
cupcake?
cupcake?
No,
Oh, like they were
I want
like
cupcakes.
a cupcake that you reach
Oh,
through the
got it.
fire to
Oh.
get.
Yeah.
I thought they were still reaching for the actual mark.
Right. So ALDH2, all it's going to do is increase the size of the fire in front of you. So you, in our kind of like addiction, in our metaphor for like a person wants a cupcake.
Why is there
All right. All right. So in our diagram of like, if reward is based, if this person is going to drive to addiction, they're going to try to get to the cupcake because of reward, then the idea was that if we put a fire here,
That's pretty good.
Damn, son. Oh.
then you would no longer reach for the cupcake.
Aw.
Unless
Unless there was a bigger,
better fire.
You're really good at drawing fire, but not very good at drawing stick figures.
That's the cutest fire I've ever seen.
It looks like a Pokemon, honestly.
It looks kind of cute.
Looks like you're trying to get
Take
You?
Embero.
Hey.
everything
Alright.
you do is just
It doesn't.
Yes, smaller
Okay.
fire.
So ALDH2
No,
increases the uncomfortability. Of
that's
alcohol.
not a word.
So which one of these three things? I can't label this big fire. Just again. So which one of these three things would it?
Nathan fire.
Lit
Lit
fire.
fire. Lit
Uh,
fire.
Lit. Oh, I get it, because it's a...
Call
it's
it my
lit,
mixtapes.
But it's lit.
Oh
Which
God, I
fire
did
would
that.
it
Oh
affect?
no.
The lit fire.
Yes.
What was the
The
question?
show is
Oh,
bad.
The question is ALDH2. So ALDH2 increases the amount of a very uncomfortable chemical in your body. right? So, which fire does it feed? It feeds this fire because it would prevent you from getting reward.
Okay.
So it's like all the negative consequences associated with addiction would be kind of in this lit fire here.
Lil. Then
Lil.
what's the big
Lipa.
We don't know what the big fire is.
The big fire. A big fire.
Just because it's big.
Wait, because we need to face it.
Yes,
Nice try.
Big fire being like a withdrawal.
we don't know that.
Oh,
Experimentally, we don't know that.
oh.
You
Right? So,
Aw, boost. Oh, okay.
That was the most
I
embarrassing
can't
thing
remember
in my
if there's
entire
a big
life.
fire, a
honestly.
little fire, and
I
a
just
cupcake.
felt my
I feel like
chips.
you know that. Okay, so
That was so embarrassing.
we are now looking at this method section. Are we reading this paper?
Nah.
Not really. Not really. Not if we don't have to. Right? So we want to get as much from the
I
data
like
as we can without getting anything from the paper. So what's our first level?
Look at the
Look
graph.
at it.
Shapes.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
shape. We
Look
got
at
a kind of diagonally thing there. We got a straight thingy there. Straight thingy there. Straight thingy there. Straight thingy there. I don't know what's going on there. Is that happening there?
Sure.
I would prefer it to just be a little straight line, you know.
You
Straight
want to just
line.
okay straight.
Okay, well, you may want things to be straight, but
All right. What are we doing though? Do you realize that the moment we draw this as a
Coming out.
straight line,
no.
we're losing data.
Yeah.
Okay, so there might be something to this. And a lot of times what I see is like the groundbreaking study tends to be the guy that just like goes back, or girl.
Person.
No, just the girl.
Or person.
Oh, because it's Mary Jane Green.
No.
Or
No,
In this case, the girl's name is Randy James Seeley.
But now, no way.
that was the most random
You're
name
rude.
ever.
It's a real name.
Mhm.
It's a real person.
Okay.
It is a real
We
person.
did some real science.
Who's not on topic, people? You're not doing your job.
Oh, sorry.
Get back on
No.
topic.
All right.
Yeah,
So-
science.
Piece of
In this case, we're looking at ICSS. So we are looking at the ability to specifically stimulate. Oh, this is totally a quiz question. The ability to stimulate a neuron without having to add any neurotransmitters. Right?
Write that one down, kids.
That's just good timing.
Right.
Well,
So
I thought that was an ear. You don't have an ear, just like technically you can't. I'm sorry.
So wait, so go to stimulate neurons
Sorry,
without
sorry,
using
sorry.
sensors?
just shut your
That's what it said.
pie hole, people.
You don't know what he's saying, do you? Yeah.
Ow!
Okay. So what we've done,
He said
With
ability to stimulate
ICSS,
neurons
we
without
basically-
neurotransmitters, yes.
hooked this part of the
thing you
neuron
just
up
said.
to
Before that.
a battery. And what that's going to do is that we're going to be able to alter the voltage, or we're going to be able to trigger the voltage-gated sodium channels without any help from the front side of this neuron. Okay. This graph, graph 1, what conclusions are we drawing from it? Okay, so we're going to move, inferences. I want inferences, not necessarily conclusions. Let's do both. Yeah.
Overall,
Conclusion or inference?
uh,
Can somebody disagree with it?
I disagree.
no.
Okay.
Then,
Well, she disagreed.
Heroin infusions per session increased over time in days in rats given 23-hour access of heroin. It did not increase in rats given 1 hour
Right.
access to heroin.
So, use increased in 23-hour access.
These are the parts that I go with.
Do you want me to just pull up what we did last time?
Yeah.
1 hour
That's good.
access. Can we really disagree with that?
No.
Not really.
Hey, no.
We always want to disagree.
Why am I doing just
What if you flipped it upside down, though?
when you have
you explain the joke? It's not funny.
I actually think the more absurd things are, the better they are. I
Okay.
feel like other people don't do so.
What can we infer? Yes.
The 23-hour access rats developed a tolerance for heroin, so they needed more to feel the same amount of happy.
Did I not get graph one?
22 hours about it.
Technically, didn't we?
Yes, rat is more specific. Okay. Cool.
We already made it.
Graph 2. Do we really care about graph 2?
Yes, I have all of this written down, so
Okay,
yes.
alright. Graph 2, what are we concluding?
The experiment works.
We did not.
Well,
We just filmed segments. Oh, you were asking. Oh, the fact the control rats. Oh wait, no, that's not a fact. I lied. Sorry, I have to turn this back.
The threshold of the control rats stayed the same over the course of the experiment.
Oh, this was the one that we screwed up. So those are just the different groups. We just as different groups.
Is that a conclusion or
That's a conclusion.
Conclusion.
I mean, is it?
Conclusion. Same thing.
Could you argue? I mean, it kind of says that on the graph.
No, you can't
That's
argue.
exactly what it says on the graphs. Can't argue with that.
No, but we're trying to make things you can't argue with now.
I have that written down too.
That's-
That's
this-
what comes next.
The analysis is after this. This is the.
yes?
The analysis now, yes?
Wait, sorry.
Cyrus says weight threshold.
She did say that twice, and then also that one.
Threshold to drive behavior. Are you saying threshold? I feel like this sentence is behavior of control.
So,
Wait,
I'm just being very specific about the term threshold. So, the amount needed to drive addiction behavior.
So that's just a definition.
Right, so that, because threshold could be interpreted as tolerance, and so I'm just clarifying it too,
Got it.
so that it's not, we eliminate that. Okay, inference?
Yeah, tolerance can't be developed from electrical stimulation, and it can't be developed with no stimulation.
Cool, alright. Graph 3.
Only two.
Data? What does our data say?
That
No. No. Ask me one more time, Todd.
Before the hour-long period with access to heroin, the rats had a constant higher threshold, and after the hour-long period, the threshold was constantly lower.
Okay.
So before was constantly higher, after was constantly lower.
Was it?
Yes.
No.
Yes, Josh.
No, it wasn't.
We're looking at the.
No, it wasn't.
That's it.
C.
But we talked about this.
Who hurt you?
We didn't say it was constantly getting lower, but just that it was constantly lower.
Yeah. It's like,
Every data point is below the one before.
If you look at the graphic.
Okay.
Josh, you literally
Josh,
came
you
up
have
with
an
this on
argument?
your own.
Somebody had an argument?
I got one.
Okay, yeah.
Tolerance. The tolerance does not develop in 1 hour, or over 1 hour with the 1 hour rats.
Same tolerance.
Yeah.
Same
I guess it's better with the word.
tolerance.
That'll do it.
Isn't it a 23-hour period?
It says.
No, because remember it's a 24-hour period.
No, 23 because they have the 1 hour.
Oh, okay. You know what, people? Yeah, we're all right here. Okay,
It's 1 hour.
it's 23 based on the end of the experiment and 24 based on the beginning of the experiment. That doesn't matter. Okay. Yes.
So for the ICCs, does it take the same amount of electricity for every person's neurons, or are some people's like sodium channels better attached?
Better attached.
You know, the cap.
I think it's close. I don't think they do this in humans a lot.
Everybody has different thresholds for firing.
But I don't think
Why would it be different?
so. A specific neuron has the same threshold for firing, basically.
Right, but like to two different neurons. Like, they both have the same kind of.
So the voltage-gated sodium channel does not matter where it is or who it is in. If that concentration of plus and minus inside and out reach the right ratio, that thing opens.
But like one neuron I have might be different than the neuron Natalie has. For
Yeah.
like,
Unless the sodium channel that you have is different.
so everyone has the same sodium channels.
Very simple.
Okay.
So if you had a mutation in the sodium channel, then you could definitely see some difference in thresholds. But yeah, so this kind of this is like to extrapolate, but like it's kind of like the idea: is my happy the same as you're happy? And it turns out it might actually be. So even if I've lived a life where I'm not as happy, that's not my set point. That actually means I've just been sad all my life. All right.
Science and mine is in the other room. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Lou.
What does graph 4 tell us?
Wait. Tell me we have seen happy.
Graph.
The threshold to drive addictive behavior increased in 23-hour rats.
Ooh.
Luke, question
Yeah.
about that. Is it important that we add like increased consistently, because then it's like not ambiguous whether like the graph just like shot up or not? Like, is that important to add consistently or not?
Well, but it isn't consistent.
I mean, it's like
There's some
it's a fairly,
variance.
like, positive trend.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
like,
then-
I would definitely, if I were really trying to figure this out right now, I would definitely follow this on this question.
Cool.
Yeah. And especially with those error bars the way they are.
You mean the same test with a lot more rats.
Yeah.
There's not that many.
I mean, this is like think about the prep here. You order your rats. You have to handle them every day for 3 weeks, so that same person has to handle them every day for 3 weeks, so that they're not uncomfortable when you later deal with them. You then have to do a surgery on them. So you figure one rat every half an hour. One person needs to do that, plus they need to administer the anesthetic, because if a different person administers the anesthetic, they're not used to them, then they freak out, which means the surgery goes wrong. So one person basically has to do all this stuff. You're now 4 weeks into an experiment. You haven't done anything. You have 2 or 3 days worth of recovery for the rat. Then you are basically going to come in every day for 50 rats, and so one person has to do this, so you have to stagger your experiment so that every 5 minutes you're shocking or administering heroin to a rat or setting it in the chamber, right? And so you're doing that for however many, 30 or 40 rats a day for 2 weeks. Your life at this point, in this experiment, you don't have one.
Rat sitter.
My dad used to sleep at the
Okay, you
lab.
split them into
Yeah, I
groups.
used
Like
to-
take like one group, have Brianna take 10 rats,
Except he
and
would sleep
have
during
Lauren take 10 rats
Not
as
if you
long as.
design the experiment.
Random hours during the
Really?
day.
But like, as long as Brianna does the same 10 rats every time, does it matter? It's just like running 2 experiments in parallel.
You can't compare Brianna's rats to your rats
Why not?
because you're male.
Ha.
Get to it.
Okay, why don't you just get like a clone Brianna?
Go
if
ahead.
we clone
Let's
Brianna
do
and
that.
like if we made sure that things like her deodorant were the same, her
What?
clothing detergent, like,
So we just need to design robots.
or we have Brianna do it.
But how
But
to
to
get
Or we design a robot.
Brianna's the same.
Robots seem easier.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, Brianna, how many rats do you think we can handle?
Cool.
Brianna,
I don't like.
So I
rats
think,
that much.
molecularly,
That's
the thing
not
that this
cute.
tells us is that
Brianna,
because
That's not
essentially
really
we've
programmable.
excluded
just one
the
of
front
them.
part of the neuron, so if we look at action potential, we say, there is some, metabotropic or inotropic receptor firing happening. Wow.
You're having
Words.
issues with words.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So let's just look at our action potential. ICSS hooks in directly, starts the action potential at sodium voltage gated channel. Right? So anything before sodium voltage gated channel is likely the culprit. So it is likely that the architecture of the neuron, specifically most likely the receptors, are being altered in a way that causes this behavior. Yes.
But if you need more electricity to stimulate the behavior, doesn't it mean that the
You only need more electricity to stimulate the behavior when you have the heroin.
right? But doesn't that mean that there's something that is not the front of the neuron that needs to be stimulated more?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So the actual neuron is becoming.
Right.
Josh, I think you broke
It
it.
needs more stuff.
Right, or it's a downstream neuron that is being affected specifically in the heroin aspect that is not being affected in the ICSS.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Yeah. My bad. Okay, class is over.
Really?
So then we know that it's only a subset that actually could be involved, right? If it has to be ones that aren't.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Well, what you said of where you're saying quote unquote downstream or whatever, then it's that isolates more what neurons this could be dealing with even, right?
You're mumbling at the end of what you're saying.
Doesn't this isolate even more what neurons this could even be dealing with though? Doesn't that sort of
It does
narrow
and doesn't
that?
because it's downstream, right? So if it's downstream, we don't know where that downstream effect necessarily is.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So this one, what did you look at next?
Racism.
Wait, do we have it?
Architecture of neurons.
Where's my? Oh, there.
Architecture of neurons.
Let's give this one a shot.
How page is it on?
What's the next one? See if we can do this one by the end of the period.
In groups or also?
So, you want to hand over left there? Graph 4 inference.
okay?
Okay.
Just pretend they said yes and move on.
Wait, what are we doing?
Tim,
What was your inference? What was that?
graph 4. Oh, I got you. Tolerance developed in 23-hour rats over time.
What?
That was this comment. The inference. That's my inference. Tolerance developed in 23-hour rats over time.
That it is distinct from 1 hour administration, right? And that there's going to be some kind of architectural change generating that.
Oh, hey. Luke.
Yeah.
Fair warning, you probably already know this. Next week we have a 2-hour block of neuro. I don't know how you want to approach that. Because our schedule's really funky. So,
You jumped on the side.
I don't know what it is.
We're
We're
still
still
looking at the old
looking
ones.
at
We just went back to them because we
Get
haven't
to
gone.
work on this. Get to work on this. Go.
Okay, now we.
Wait, who's who?
All right. What is this?
Wait, you didn't actually tell us which ones we were doing for this.
For this one,
We have
Yeah.
to find out what the hell they did.
do the steps.
No.
Did
Which
you